Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft2 Legacy of the Void and yet another Polt game. Gonna be a TVT here on Kairos Junction, the latter edition. Bottom right-hand corner is the GM on the Korean server player Lallpalooza. And at the top left, the blue Terran player. You know him and love him as Polt. Polt is back, you guys. He's back from military service. He's streaming on Twitch fairly often. There's a link to his Twitch channel in the description. Please go follow him and sub to him and show him all the love that he shows us. Can I just tell you, I asked Polt about casting his games, and he said it's fine with me, but I don't want people to be embarrassed. The people that I beat, I don't want them to see the game that you post and be embarrassed. So I'm not entirely sure. I kind of feel like we need permission from the other player before you cast it. That is how nice Polt is. He seeks consent from the people he plays before he puts it on YouTube. Polt, we are not worthy of you. Alright, so Lallpalooza, like I said, is a GM level player on the Korean ladder. Polt is getting back up to there. So I kind of feel like this is going to be a pretty darn good match for him. And it's a TVT. Haven't cast these in a while. Hopefully we see battle cruisers, but no guarantees. Double gas opening from both players, just basically for a Cyclone at this point. And a Reaper opening. That's a Reaper, and you know what this is going to be? That's a Reaper. Alright, so Reaper versus Reaper into factory from both of these players. Reaper number 1 is PewDiePie. Since T-Series is closing the sub gap, did I already do this one? I already did this one, and that one. Garbage. Alright, this one it is. Lallpalooza. In a post-apocalyptic Earth, most of the planet has been run over by trolls, monstrous former humans that usually look like piles of tumors. One needs to stand still and stay quiet to survive. Lallpalooza is a Finnish mage and a scout, socially inept and constantly confused. Are you just hanging out? Alright, well you're moving. That's you then. Lolly is nonetheless the best scout there is. After the Terran Dominion fixed the Earth by nuking the infected bits, Lolly was sent to the Reaper program for his scouting skills, and all Lolly wants is to go home. Reaper versus Reaper action. Red Reaper is going to be named Rover. Rover the Reaper. Manx's dog was put into a Reaper suit after he died, so that Manx would have company. Alright, so 2 Reaper versus 2 Reaper. Actually kind of passing in the night. Reaper Hellion. Oh, no. Polt's going to lose one of his Hellions. His only Hellion, I think. Yeah, chasing it down. It's going to make it home. It's going to make it home, but can it survive? It's got to get behind that wall. Oh, no. Gets picked off. Meanwhile, Polt coming in with his 2 Reapers and does delay construction on the natural base, but he's in a lot of trouble. The Reaper's hopping in. They're going to try to take down one of his, Polt's final Reaper is here. But there's a Hellion now. And I think it's time to get on out. Oh, losing a Reaper there. The control maybe not as fantastic as it otherwise could be. And Lallpalooza does have to retreat in shame here. After getting a pretty good drop there, I'd say. Oh, does win that. Taking down one of the Hellions. Losing the Reaper there, but the Hellion goes down. The trades have been amazing so far. I think Lallpalooza is ahead on that one. 400 to 350 resources lost. I guess we're pretty even at that stage. So yeah, both Reapers going down. Rover and Lallpalooza. Okay. Hotakainen. That is an interesting name for sure. Does feel Finnish. Maybe one of my Finnish subscribers is the one who threw that name in there. It is a Cyclone here from Lallpalooza. Meanwhile, tank on the way here from Polt. Defensive position, tanks are pretty good on high ground here. Cyclones better in offensive positions. Although pretty good at defense too. They are really good at dealing with drops that come in. Banshees really can't escape if they come in and get spotted. Drops as well. Medivacs really can't escape either. So once there are Cyclones out, you really got to commit to your drops. Commit to your attacks because retreating is not really an option. Raven 2 here from Lallpalooza. I like the early Raven play here from him. APM for these players is around the 300 level mark. Playing very fast. You can hear Polt as he plays. Yeah, bottom line, these guys are fast. Korean GM server is not a place you want to play, I can tell you that much. I doubt anybody here really wants that experience. Third command center on the way from Polt. Any sign of expansion from Lallpalooza yet? Nope. But he is pushing out with a bit of a Marine Cyclone Raven style maneuver here. One tank setting up defensively, and the tank for Polt moving into the natural base at the front. It's a little bit, I guess there are 2 tanks, but one tank is a little bit exposed here. You can kind of dodge in and take it down with a large number of Marines, but at this stage, nobody has a large number of Marines. So this is TVT. We're going to see tank lines, we're going to see Vikings, we're going to see Cyclones doing some stuff here, Ravens tossing down auto turrets, defensive, not defensive, disabling interference matrix. It just interferes with the units. It doesn't disable them. They can still move. But it does interfere with them quite heavily, disabling their ability to cast special spells. I guess normal spells are also special, and use their basic attacks. Yep, there's your Vikings in production here for Lallpalooza. Raven of his own coming in from Polt. And both players pretty happy just to sit back at the stage and just kind of enjoy the scenery here on Kairos Junction. Not that there's much to see. It's very desert-scape. You got minerals and a little minecart thing down here, which is cute. And are these more Reapers from Polt? He lost his 2, right? He lost 1 and he made 2 more. That one's toast because it got in range of a Cyclone lock-on. That's pretty much as much of a death sentence as you're going to get here in this TVT. Are you in range of a Cyclone? You are probably going to die. Both players going for STEM engineering bays on the way from Lallpalooza, liking the upgrade strategy he's working on right now. And the engineering base from Polt, not yet. He's behind. He's behind on this one. Attacking on in. Marines, tanks, Cyclone. Again, this is Maru style. I think he's the one that popularized this. Where you just kind of make a little bit of everything. Some Marines, some tanks, some Ravens, some Vikings. Cyclones. It's not quite bio. It's not quite mech. It's just whatever is available to the Terran arsenal is what you want. Now, many a TVT has been lost on this map because one Terran attacked into a tank line up on the high ground like this. This covers adequately this ramp and this ramp. If you try to come up there with all those tanks, you're going to die. Interference matrix on 2 of them, I don't think is enough to even whittle it down to where it's safe to do so. Free Marine, bam. See what I'm talking about? Wander into range of a Cyclone, you're going to die. The tank's on siege from Polt, which seems like a bad idea. But no, Lallpalooza has no interest in attacking up there. He's going to land his 3rd base in range of a Reaper here from Polt. 3rd base landing from Polt at literally the same time. Both players doing pretty good on their expansion timings, as it turns out. Oh, tanks are sieged up. There was a second there where they weren't sieged up, and Lallpalooza had an angle, but he wasn't there in time. And he's forced to pull back. So both players have 3 bases. It's 54 workers for Polt. He has a slight advantage there on worker count, army supplies. 51 to 45. Polt is up on that one, too. So Polt's macro is doing pretty well for itself. About a 350 APM spike there from him. Looking pretty good. Working on 1-1 for his bio. And I have to assume it's the same story here. Yes, except ahead for Lallpalooza. His upgrades are ahead. So he's going to have some windows where he's got 1-1 Marines. And Polt does not have those yet. Viking count is also really important in TVT. We're looking at 6 Vikings to 6 at this stage. 2 Ravens to 2. Tank count higher for Polt. But everything across the board is pretty much even. Pretty much even at this stage. Ah, that guitar solo in the TV, or the Terran soundtrack. It's a good one. All right, Polt sets up at a bit of an offensive position here. Not in range of any of these tanks somehow. Just barely not there. Lock-on has escaped by going onto the high ground. That's really nice how that usually works. Tank versus tank action. Interference matrix on 2 of the tanks here for Polt. 1 for Lallpalooza. Loses it effectively immediately. These tanks are going to come out of there eventually, and this refinery is in trouble as a result, and by golly it is. Cyclone tries to come up to do something about it. No. This is a really strong entrenched position here from Polt. I don't know what Lallpalooza can do to save it. Is he really not in range of that refinery? How? Oh, it was a vision problem. Is what it was. Big old air versus air battle right now. The refinery does go down. So much stuff is interfered with, you guys. I don't even know what we're looking at right now. It wears off soon enough. It's not a very long spell. But Polt does take a 4th base down south. He was the aggressor for a minute there. Took the time to expand. And I don't think Lallpalooza actually has another command center. He's got 3 without a 4th one on the way. So Polt is out expanding his Terran opponent right now. He's looking pretty good doing it. Hasn't really been on the defensive for a while. That's a good feeling. If you can be the aggressor, and maybe not like so aggressive you lose your whole army, but just kind of keep your opponent on their back foot. It's a good time to expand. It's a good time to get more ahead. And then when they do choose to attack you, you just have more stuff than they do because you expanded sooner. Whoa. Whoa. Attacking into this tank line. There's not a lot of stuff defending or supporting these tanks here from Polt. And by golly, they all get whittled down here by the Marines. Reinforcing Marines from Polt do show up here. There are tanks, and the Vikings are trying to help with them too. Medevacs helping out these Marines, but too many Vikings on the ground. That was a brilliant play from Lallpalooza. Bringing the Vikings down to provide the buffering his tanks needed. 2 of them survived, whereas all of Polt's died. Tank count is currently 4-3, though. Polt has that lead. And a resources lost, 5,700 for Lallpalooza and 5,200 from Polt. That tech number is an interesting one. It refers to upgrades in static defense that have been built. Lallpalooza has the lead at 3,100 to 2,750, or 2,725 to be more accurate. I was trying to round, but then rounding didn't make any sense, and I don't know. Brains are weird things. By the way, did you know I have merch? Did you know there is a Falcon Paladin store at Shopify.com? You search Falcon Paladin and a Shopify. Spelled just the way that you're hearing it there. You can find hats and mugs and pillows and shirts. And if you're in the southern hemisphere, it's more of a jacket weather. If you're in the northern hemisphere, it's like more of a getting a t-shirt thing. But check it out if you have the time, if you have the inclination for Falcon Paladin merchandise. Tanks setting up. Wha-bam! Marine pays for that one there. Lallpalooza getting some free damage. It's always nice. I like that Polt is holding on to this expansion position. Also this one. And he just poked in on there. So he knows that Lallpalooza is stuck on 3 bases so far, but he's got a pretty scary army. That said, Polt is up 106 to 94. This might be one of those times I was going to say, how are the upgrades? We're still on 1-1. 2-2's coming in here. And Polt's actually better on his timing for 2-2. So he's not going to be behind in upgrades for some time. Polt is taking a base at the north section right now, looking very, very good doing it. The Vikings are trying to pick off some of these medevacs. The Marines take exception to it, but then the tanks take exception to the Marines. And now Polt has air superiority. However, the Marines are pretty good at ground-to-air superiority. And nobody wants to engage here. I mean, this just feels so much like Wings of Liberty. The Marine tank lines with Vikings providing vision. Liberators are new, though. Liberators are a new toy for TVT and pretty good at chasing away tanks. Marines trying to catch some of those tanks before they're on siege, but defensive Marines are ready to go for them there. So 192 to 177 supply. Lallpalooza has the lead. He's got more workers. He's got more army supply. He's just now landing his 4th. Whereas Polt has a 4th base and a 5th base he's working on. So he's down in army, but overall, I think he's going to be able to catch up here quite nicely. He's working on +1 vehicle weapons at the same time that Lallpalooza starts his, which is kind of hilarious. And a bit of a passing in the night situation here. Lallpalooza heading north and Polt is heading south. Tanks setting up their armor. Liberators going to take those tanks out, but they do unsiege just in time. A bit of a Marine attack into Lallpalooza's 3rd. They're going to take down the orbital command. Goodbye, 3rd base. That's a huge play for Polt. The 4th base has been getting rocked by this Reaper for the past 5 minutes. It's not going to go down because it's changing itself into a planetary fortress. Meanwhile, drop follow-up by Polt into the main base. That's a bit of a surprise here for Lallpalooza. He is not prepared for this whatsoever. Refinery going down. Barracks is going to go down here, too. That's some free damage. Some SCVs coming in to try to help. They're getting massacred. Oh, the humanity. So many SCVs going down. 19 have been killed so far in the game. Lallpalooza pushing out on his end of the map here, though. Going after Polt's 3rd base. He's going to shut that down. Planetary Fortress, even with repairs versus tanks and Marines, not going to happen. Meanwhile, Marine counterattack of Polt at the natural base here, too. The tanks are defending here from Polt. Are there enough Marines to actually get rid of that tank line? The answer is yes. The tank line is down. Lallpalooza's tank line is still alive. The tank count is a healthy 7-1 in favor of Lallpalooza, but the Marines in the natural base still need to be dealt with. The army supply is huge for Polt right now, though. Polt, he doesn't have tanks, but he's got a ton of Marines and a ton of Vikings. They're in little disparate areas of the map right now, which is not good for them. The problem here for Lallpalooza is he does not know about this base or this base. He thinks he's got Polt on 2 bases, but he doesn't. However, Polt ends up losing this little drop action play. Too many tanks and too many Marines for that one. Polt has started his 3-3 upgrades, whereas Lallpalooza is behind on that, which hurts immensely. Especially in mirror matchups, you want the upgrade advantage, or you want it to be even at the very least right now. Polt is making 13 Marines at a time. Lallpalooza can make exactly 7 at a time right now. SCV is forced to deal with this Marine, and by golly, they do it. He only gets 2 kills before he gets wiped out by SCVs. You don't get a place in Valhalla if you get killed by workers, right? I assume that's where Marines go anyway. So Lallpalooza says, oh, there is a base up here. He scanned it, and he's going to try to wipe it out right now. Orbital command, second orbital command at that base does get taken out. I guess this is the third. The other one was the fourth. Polt trying to come on in and take out those tanks. Liberator in the mix, but does get picked off. Nicely done, Lallpalooza. And Lallpalooza's tanks are getting whittled down a little bit, but a lot of Marines for Polt are dying right now. Army supply 76 to 45. Polt has a massive lead on that, but he's going to lose this base. More of his SCVs are going to go down here, too. He is losing 25, 26, 27. The orbital command is going to die here, too. Polt is not in a position to end up saving it at all. Tank tries to set up, but it's not going to happen. The tanks are unsupported, though, so trading these tanks for that orbital command, I don't know if that was a good trade for Lallpalooza or not. Everybody dies there, too. And there's still this base that Lallpalooza doesn't know about. Polt is replacing the base down on the left side. Lallpalooza has reestablished his third, and his fourth base is happily running. Worker supply 41 to 46. Lallpalooza has a lead, but the army supply continues to be here for Polt. His macro is just insanely good right now. His 3-3 is done, whereas Lallpalooza's is just starting. APM over 400 for these players. They are both playing out of their minds right now. But I just think Polt has the better economy. Again, worker count doesn't matter as much as just how many available mineral patches are you working from right now. Are you oversaturated anywhere? And the answer is not really no. Well, I guess the natural base is a little bit unsaturated here for Lallpalooza. Polt continuing to attack on down this left side. He's setting up on this third base again. He says, I rooted this out once. I'm going to try it again here. Marines stimming in. Tanks setting up. Orbital command runs. And Polt, don't overextend with your Marines, buddy. I don't know if you want to do this or not. He has enough. Does he have enough to get through there is the question of the day. No. Marines fighting. Tank fighting. Tank has 10 kills. Not too bad. Siege tank friend. But the third base is forced to be lifted off. That is income that is being lost by Lallpalooza right now. And Lallpalooza is in a horrendously bad position. Liberator sets up in a nice, hard-to-reach place. But Vikings chase him out. One of the Liberators gets picked off as a result. Little Marine reinforcement groups cruising across the map. Vikings joining the party here, too. Lallpalooza trying to expand to this 5th base location. But it's really exposed, and Polt finds it instantly upon that base landing. I don't know how he protects this. Gonna be honest with you, Lallpalooza, he's gambling right now. He does actually decide to move on down with some units to defend. And he wants to defend his natural base too, so he's spread a little bit thin here. Again, the upgrade's really favoring Polt on those Marines. It is +2 attack for the tanks, so nobody has an upgrade advantage there. Tank count is 11 to 5. Polt has taken the lead after being so down for such a long time there. He's really come back with a vengeance, making 13 Marines at a time. Lallpalooza has just a couple minutes here before that +3 armor and +3 attack finishes for his Marines. Can he hold on long enough to where he has 3-3 to match up with Polt's Marines? We'll have to keep an eye on that, as they are just now. You know what? It's going to happen. He's going to get the 3-3. The advantage didn't matter for Polt as much, I think, as it should have, as Polt is a little bit cautious, moving on in. Tanks on the high ground from Lallpalooza. Army supply 129 to 93. Lallpalooza is not as down as he was, and attacking into an entrenched position is really hard. So here we go. 132 to 100 army supply. Polt looks like he wants to move in here, but he's being so cautious with it. Liberator getting some nice shots off. I don't think he even has advanced ballistics. That Liberator gets a free tank. Lallpalooza says one good trick deserves another. It is a bit of a lull before the storm here. Polt trying to set up in range of the siege tanks, but getting shelled in the process. Vikings have air superiority from Polt. They're chasing away Lallpalooza's units. The medevacs are afraid. Liberator slowly sieging forward. Working on high-sec auto-tracking, actually. Ah, tank goes down. This Liberator's got 4 kills. Is doing some good work here for Polt. And for how nuts this game has been, it's kind of slowed down here in the last couple of minutes. Resources lost 23,700 for Polt, 24,400 for Lallpalooza. Liberator getting some serious work done there. +3 vehicle weapons on the way from Polt. Not being researched by Lallpalooza. There will be another upgrade advantage for Polt here. And Lallpalooza going for it. Here he goes. Marines attacking on in, trying to take down the Liberator, trying to take down the tanks from the south side too. The action everywhere, but Polt just has too much stuff. There is too many tanks, too many Marines. The third base is going to go down. Lallpalooza down to 46 army supply. Doesn't lose the base. Oh, some tanks from Lallpalooza do show up just in the nick of time there. Brand new tanks, by the way. 0 kills, 1 kills, 2 kills. Polt pulling back a little bit. Just happily throwing down mules. He's sitting on his 5 base economy. No problem against the, well, technically 4 basing Lallpalooza here. So, but it's double the army supply for Polt right now. And he forces the 4th base liftoff. He's going to try to land down here at the original 4th base location. Oh, the SCVs are long distance mining. That's very dangerous, but I don't know what else they do right now. They can't just hang out. They can't mine from any other base because they're all mined out right now. And this one's oversaturated. Polt, 180 to 105 supply. Time for the hammer, buddy. Taking a 6th base, cause why not? Lallpalooza's got 74 army supply. Again, half that of what Polt's is right now. Yeah, I think Polt's figuring out the current meta, you guys. He's he was up military service for 2 years, but he's looking much, much better than he was that first week he was back. First week he was back, he was losing big time. He was losing to Masters players, but he's there. He tried to qualify for GSL, and I think he lost every match, so he's not quite there yet. But here we go. Tanks dodging on in, taking down... Ooh, Marines taking down 2 of the tanks there. Vikings cruising on in to say hello, because they do have air superiority, assuming the Marines don't get in there first. Nice volley on that medevac. Taking it out. Medevac comparison count is 4-2. Polt has not overmade medevacs, but he has enough to keep his guys topped off after he stims them. Lallpalooza, he's got his 4th base back right now. His income is not bad compared to Polt's right now. It's only about 300 minerals per minute less, which allows him to make 10 Marines at a time. More and more tanks here for Polt. He's at 188 supply. A lot of that is workers. 53 to 33 worker advantage, which means Lallpalooza has an army advantage here. Well, not as much. Technically not an army advantage, but he's not as disadvantaged as he was a couple minutes ago. Yeah, man, Lallpalooza's just kind of backed him into a corner right here. I don't know what he does, honestly. Is he going for it? There are so many high ground tanks, man. Oh, Lallpalooza. All right, well, he's doing okay against the Marines, but the tanks on the high ground are not being bothered, and as a result, everything on the ground here dies for Lallpalooza. The 4th base is done. Army supply is 1/3 of what Polt's is right now. Polt taking his time, setting up a Liberator, removing another tank. Oh, nice pickup. I almost got it. Almost made it happen. Yeah, I mean, this is it's a really slow death for Lallpalooza right now. There are just bases everywhere for Polt. He's at 53 to 33 workers. Army supply is, again, triple that of what Lallpalooza's is. It's not Lallpalooza, it's a Lallpalooza. Lallpalooza doing a bit of a counterattack and does force a liftoff on Polt's 6th. Minor victory to be had there. And here we go. Coming in from all angles. Lallpalooza trying to do it again, trying to dislodge the tanks, bring in the SCVs, pulling the boys. He's dancing, patrolling his Vikings back and forth here. Now it's 36, and that's your good game. Lallpalooza recognizes where he is. GG's to Polt, and Polt has left the game too. So yeah, brutal last couple of minutes there. Polt was going for a fusion core. I'm not sure if he was planning on doing battle cruisers or what, but yeah, end of the match there. 141 with 37 army supply. Lallpalooza was right to tap out. Resources lost, 32,000 for Polt, 39,000 for Lallpalooza. Lots of units lost over the last couple of minutes there. 357 Marines lost to 233 for Polt. 58 SCVs down to 26 for Polt. 15 Vikings down. 24 actually for Polt. That's something that Lallpalooza won in. I don't know that he made as many Vikings as Polt did. It doesn't look like he did at all, but still. Pretty good at numbers. 25 tanks down for 28. And 2 orbital commands and a planetary fortress lost by Polt. That's quite a bit of stuff there in exchange for 1 orbital command lost by Lallpalooza. And that was really it. So surprisingly few bases lost by Lallpalooza, but he couldn't really put much pressure on Polt other than the one time he did get in there and force him to retreat. So pretty good match. I think Polt generally led that thing wire to wire. There was the good attack by Lallpalooza, but other than that, I think Polt controlled the match. He was patient. His positioning was good. His upgrades were better than Lallpalooza's through most of the match, and that helped immensely in some really key battles. And that was it. Got the win. So nice job, Polt. Remember to follow him on Twitch and subscribe, you guys. Good dude. And that's going to be it for me today. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.